My dear brothers and sisters, tonight I invite you to recite Surah Al Ikhlas, not as a routine but as a deep conversation with your Creator. These few short verses carry the weight of the heavens and the mercy of Allah Himself. Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahus samad, lam yalad, wa lam yakun lahu kufuwan ahad. These words are not merely verses, they are a declaration of the purest truth. They remind you that Allah is one, eternal, self-sufficient, and unlike anything you can imagine. If you let your heart feel what your tongue recites, this surah can heal what the world has broken inside you. The power and depth of Surah Al Ikhlas cannot be overstated. The Prophet ﷺ said that it is equal to 1/3 of the Qur'an. Why? Because it holds within it the foundation of Tawheed, the belief in the oneness of Allah. Every word you utter from it reconnects your heart to the one who created it. When you say Qul huwa Allahu ahad, you are declaring that no one else has control over your destiny, not people, not circumstances, not fear, not loss. You are freeing yourself from dependency on anything besides Allah. When you say Allahus samad, you are reminding your heart that He is the one you turn to for every need. You may be surrounded by uncertainty, but you are never without support. You may have no one to call at midnight, but Allah is always there, waiting to hear your whisper. Think about this. Every hardship you face, every tear you cry, every burden you carry, all of it becomes lighter when you say these words with sincerity. Recite them tonight slowly. Let each verse settle in your heart. Imagine yourself sitting in silence after a long day, with only your voice echoing through the stillness of your room. Feel the calm that descends as you say, Lam yalad wa lam yalad, wa lam yakun lahu kufuwan ahad. In those moments, you are not just reciting, you are aligning your heart with the eternal truth that Allah has no equal, no partner, and no weakness. You are safe in His oneness. There are nights when life feels too heavy, when nothing makes sense, and you wonder if Allah still remembers you. But then you open the Qur'an, and the first surah your eyes land on is Al Ikhlas. As if Allah Himself is saying, my servant, I am still here. That's how Allah sends His signs, in the perfect moment, in the quiet of your despair, through words that remind you of His closeness. He does not always speak through miracles or visions. Sometimes He speaks through a verse you've recited 1,000 times, but never truly heard until tonight. Recite Surah Al Ikhlas tonight, as though it's your heart's final prayer, with meaning, with surrender, with tears if they come. Feel how Allah listens to every breath you take between each verse. Feel how the angels record your recitation with joy. Feel how the unseen world bows to the oneness of Allah with you. This surah is not just about declaring that Allah is one, it's about reminding your soul that you belong to the One, that no matter how scattered your life feels, you can return to Him through these few verses. When you recite Al Ikhlas with faith, you are rebuilding trust in Allah's plan. You are telling your fears, my Lord is enough for me. You are telling your doubts, my sustainer never fails. You are telling your broken heart, the one who made me whole once will do so again. The peace that follows such recitation is unlike any other. It is a divine calm, a sacred silence that fills the spaces where anxiety once lived. So tonight before you sleep, sit in stillness, raise your hands, close your eyes, recite Surah Al Ikhlas slowly, intentionally, with every heartbeat whispering Allah is one. Trust that as you do, Allah is writing something beautiful for you, something you cannot yet see, but will soon understand. His timing is perfect, His mercy endless, and His love beyond measure. Let these verses be the bridge between your worries and His peace, between your weakness and His strength, between your longing and His promise. And as the night embraces you, know that every time you recite this surah, the heavens open with blessings meant only for you. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. The power and depth of Surah Al Ikhlas is something that every believer should contemplate deeply, because within its 4 short verses lies the essence of Tawheed, the foundation of faith itself. Many people pass through life reciting the Qur'an as a ritual, not realizing that some verses carry a weight and a power that can transform hearts, lives and destinies. Surah Al Ikhlas is not just words, it is a declaration of truth, a statement that separates the eternal from the fleeting, the creator from the creation. When you recite Qul huwa Allahu ahad, you are affirming that Allah is one, not in number, not in comparison, not in resemblance, but absolute and singular, without partners, equals or rivals. In a world where people constantly look for validation and meaning in others, this surah teaches you to place your trust entirely in the one who created you. Every word of this surah is laden with meaning. Saying Allahus Samad reminds you that Allah is self-sufficient, complete and independent. He does not need anyone, yet everyone depends upon Him. Imagine that for a moment, the one who governs the entire universe, who has power over the heavens, the earth and every soul within them, is also the one who listens to your quiet whispers at night, the one who responds to your du'as, even when no one else hears them. This verse bridges the vastness of the universe with the intimacy of your heart, showing that the same Allah who upholds galaxies also holds you in His care. When you recite this verse, you are acknowledging that your needs, your fears, your hopes, and your dreams all have a place in His knowledge and power. The next verses, Lam yalid wa lam yalad, wa lam yakun lahu kufuwan ahad, take this understanding even further. They remind you that Allah is beyond human limitations. He has no beginning and no end, no offspring, no partner, and no equal. These words invite you to reflect on the futility of placing your trust in worldly things, in people or in fleeting opportunities. Just as a tree cannot grow outside of its proper soil, your soul cannot find true stability outside of reliance upon Allah. The simplicity of this surah is its beauty. It is a small verse with immense power, capable of anchoring your heart in a storm, of giving clarity when confusion clouds your mind, and of bringing peace when anxiety threatens to overwhelm you. When you understand the depth of Surah Al Ikhlas, you begin to see its relevance in daily life. Every time you recite it, you are reaffirming that no matter the chaos around you, Allah is singular, eternal, and in control. If people betray you, if opportunities fail, if circumstances seem impossible, these verses remind you that the one who knows all and sees all has not forgotten you. Reciting this surah with reflection transforms a routine act into a spiritual conversation, where you are reminded that your life is not subject to chance, but to the perfect plan of the Creator. Think of Surah Al Ikhlas as a light in a dark room. You might be surrounded by fear, uncertainty, or doubt, but when you speak these words intentionally, the darkness begins to fade. Your heart begins to recognize that there is a constant, unwavering presence with you at every moment, guiding, protecting, and sustaining. The Prophet ﷺ told that this surah is equal to 1/3 of the Qur'an. Reflect on that in just 4 verses. You hold the essence of all divine guidance. Reciting it with sincerity is not a trivial act. It is aligning your heart with the ultimate truth, connecting your soul with the foundation of existence, and anchoring your faith in the one who is forever steadfast. When a believer truly grasps the power and depth of Surah Al Ikhlas, reciting it becomes an act of empowerment. It is a declaration of independence from worldly reliance, a refuge from fear, and a reminder that no one else can grant what Allah alone has decreed. It is the simplest surah, yet it carries the weight of the universe, capable of turning hearts towards serenity and trust. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. Understanding the meaning of Allah is one in everyday life is a journey that transforms not only the mind, but also the heart and soul. When we recite Surah Al Ikhlas, we are reminded of the core principle of Islam, Tawheed, the oneness of Allah. But this is not an abstract idea, meant only for scholarly discussion. It is a truth that should guide every thought, action and decision in our daily lives. To say that Allah is one, is to recognize that no one has power like Him, no one controls the universe like Him, and no one can substitute for Him in providing guidance, mercy and sustenance. Every act of reliance, gratitude and worship begins with this understanding. In daily life, recognizing Allah's oneness means turning to Him first in times of need. It is easy to forget this when challenges arise, when bills pile up, relationships strain, or health falters. Many people instinctively run to people, money or temporary solutions for comfort and security. But true believers remember that everything depends on Allah, and everything returns to Him. By reciting Qul Huwa Allahu Ahad, we reaffirm that our sustenance, safety and peace are not tied to anyone or anything else. The one who created the heavens and the earth is also the one who cares for your every small need, from the breath you take to the thoughts that cross your mind. This understanding turns ordinary moments into acts of worship, and every reliance on Him becomes a step closer to inner peace. Recognizing Allah's oneness also reshapes how we view the trials of life. When difficulties strike, it is tempting to blame fate, chance, or the actions of others. But Tawheed teaches us that nothing occurs outside of Allah's will. This does not mean that we passively accept injustice or avoid responsibility, but rather that we trust in His perfect wisdom and timing. The trials become a source of reflection and growth, and our hearts find comfort knowing that the one who allows them also holds the power to bring ease. The meaning of Allah is one is not limited to acknowledging His uniqueness. It extends to trusting Him with everything we cannot control and surrendering our worries into His hands. In relationships, work, and community, this understanding influences our interactions. When we internalize that Allah is one, we stop seeking ultimate approval from people and begin to seek His pleasure. Decisions are no longer made solely to impress or compete with others, but to align with what is pleasing to Allah. When someone wrongs us, we turn to Allah for justice rather than succumbing to anger or revenge. When opportunities arise, we thank Allah first, acknowledging that it is He who has enabled our efforts and granted us success. By keeping Allah at the center of our intentions and actions, our lives are guided by faith, rather than by fleeting desires or worldly pressures. Every act of worship, no matter how small, becomes more meaningful when we understand Allah's oneness. The prayer we offer, the charity we give, and the kindness we extend to others are all transformed when we recite Surah Al Ikhlas with reflection. Saying Allahus Samad reminds us that we turn to Him for every need, and that He alone is our ultimate refuge. When we internalize this truth, patience grows in our hearts, contentment deepens, and fear diminishes. We begin to see that life's uncertainties are not sources of despair, but opportunities to reaffirm our reliance on the one who never fails. Recognizing Allah's oneness in everyday life is therefore an ongoing practice. It is in the choices we make, the gratitude we express, the patience we exercise, and the trust we place in Him. Each recitation of Surah Al Ikhlas is not just an utterance of words. It is a living reminder that the Creator is singular, complete, and sufficient. By letting this truth shape our thoughts, actions, and interactions, we cultivate a heart that is connected to Allah, a mind that seeks His guidance, and a life that aligns with His divine wisdom. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. The transformative power of sincere recitation of Surah Al Ikhlas is something that every believer should experience, for it goes far beyond merely speaking words. When you recite it with presence of heart, reflection, and intention, these verses begin to work on your soul in ways that ordinary speech cannot. Many people recite this surah daily, without realizing that it carries a profound ability to realign your spirit, cleanse your heart, and strengthen your connection with Allah. It is not the repetition that matters, but the depth of understanding and presence that accompanies each word. When you recite Qul Huwa Allahu Ahad, you are not just declaring a fact, you are reaffirming a truth that governs the universe and anchors your heart. Sincere recitation means letting each word resonate within you. Consider how the verse Allahus Samad touches your awareness. It is a reminder that Allah is self-sufficient, that He has no needs, yet He is the one upon whom all creation depends. When recited thoughtfully, this verse invites you to release dependency on worldly things, and to place your trust fully in Allah. It reminds you that no matter the uncertainties surrounding you, the one who is eternal and complete holds your life in His hands. The heart begins to experience relief, the mind finds clarity, and the soul senses a deep, unshakable security that nothing else can provide. Reciting it without presence misses this spiritual nourishment, while reciting it with reflection awakens the inner world and cultivates a profound sense of reliance on the Almighty. The transformative effect also comes from recognizing the absolute uniqueness of Allah. In the verses Lam Yalad Walam Yolad, Walam Yakun Lahu Kufuwan Ahad, these words are not just theological statements, they are a reminder that nothing can ever rival or replace Allah's role in your life. When recited sincerely, they bring humility and perspective. They remind you that human struggles, setbacks, or failures are limited and temporary, while Allah's power and wisdom are limitless. This understanding changes the way you face challenges. Anxiety and despair lose their grip, because the heart begins to trust the one who never fails, the one whose plan is always perfect. Every hardship becomes an opportunity to reconnect with Allah, and to remind yourself of His sufficiency. Real-life examples show this transformative effect clearly. Imagine a student overwhelmed by exams, a parent burdened by responsibilities, or a worker stressed by deadlines. When they recite Surah Al Ikhlas with sincerity, even a few times, their hearts feel lighter. The repetitive affirmation that Allah is one and self-sufficient creates a spiritual rhythm that stabilizes emotions and brings focus. It is as if the recitation acts as a spiritual compass, guiding the heart back to the center, to the awareness of Allah's presence, protection and provision. Over time, this practice cultivates resilience, patience and contentment, demonstrating that the true power of these verses lies not in the sound alone, but in the sincere intention behind them. Moreover, the transformative power is amplified when combined with reflection. As you recite, consider the meaning of the words, and let your imagination visualize the magnitude of Allah's oneness. Picture the heavens, the earth, and all creation existing under His command. Reflect on how He watches over every detail of your life, yet remains beyond human comprehension. Contemplate the mercy, wisdom and justice that flow from this singular power. In doing so, the recitation moves from being a routine to a life-changing spiritual experience. It begins to purify your intentions, align your desires with Allah's will, and open your heart to the blessings He is preparing for you. Sincere recitation, therefore, is a gateway to transformation. It is a practice that nurtures patience, instills trust and strengthens faith. When performed with mindfulness, it has the power to cleanse the heart of doubts, fear, and distractions, allowing the believer to experience a deeper connection with Allah. Surah Al Ikhlas becomes more than a verse. It becomes a daily anchor, a spiritual refuge, and a reminder that the one you rely upon is eternal, unique, and all-sufficient. Each utterance of these words, when spoken with presence and reflection, becomes a transformative act of worship, preparing the heart and soul to receive divine guidance and blessings. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. One of the most beautiful aspects of reciting Surah Al Ikhlas is how it allows us to recognize Allah's signs and the peace He sends through His words. Life often feels chaotic, full of uncertainty, challenges, and unanswered questions. In such moments, the heart craves reassurance, guidance, and comfort. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, speaks to us in ways that are subtle yet powerful. Surah Al Ikhlas is one of those divine instruments. Its recitation is not only an act of worship, but also a channel through which Allah communicates with the believer's heart, sending signs of His presence, care, and perfect timing. Consider how life often delivers signs in the smallest, most unexpected moments. A quiet moment in the night, a chance encounter, or even a fleeting thought, can serve as a reminder from Allah. When you recite Surah Al Ikhlas sincerely, your heart becomes more attuned to these signs. The words themselves act as a filter, helping you discern divine guidance from mere coincidence. When you say Kul Huwa Allah, Allah Ahad, you are opening your awareness to the fact that the one who created the heavens and the earth is constantly overseeing your affairs. You begin to notice patterns, moments of relief, and opportunities that you might have previously overlooked. Every subtle shift in circumstances, every unexpected blessing, begins to feel like a message from your Lord, perfectly timed to guide, comfort, and protect you. Allah sends His signs not only to reassure, but also to cultivate trust and patience in the heart of the believer. Life's challenges often test our faith, creating moments of doubt, fear, or anxiety. But through the recitation of Surah Al Ikhlas, the heart is reminded that Allah is one, eternal, and self-sufficient. The recognition of His absolute oneness allows the believer to see that nothing occurs outside of His will. Each difficulty, each delay, and each unexpected turn becomes a sign of divine wisdom, rather than a random misfortune. When you recite with understanding, you start to perceive the hidden blessings behind challenges, the lessons embedded in trust, and the protection concealed in setbacks. You realize that every event is part of a larger, perfect plan, orchestrated by the one who knows what is best for you. The surah also cultivates peace in the heart. When the world feels overwhelming, when anxiety threatens to dominate, reciting these verses serves as a spiritual balm. Saying Allahus Samad repeatedly with focus allows the heart to release its dependency on temporary, fragile things. You feel a quiet assurance that the one who sustains the universe is fully capable of sustaining you. This peace is itself a divine sign, a reminder that Allah has not abandoned you, that He is actively guiding and protecting you, and that your trust in Him is never misplaced. Often the signs of Allah's presence are a calming thought, an unexpected solution, or a moment of clarity that feels almost miraculous. Surah Al Ikhlas primes your heart to recognize these moments as messages from your Lord. Even in the midst of worldly chaos, recitation of this surah sharpens the believer's awareness of divine timing.
Allah often delays what we desire, not out of negligence, but out of perfect wisdom. He may withhold a blessing until your heart is ready to receive it, or until conditions are aligned for its arrival in the most beneficial way. When you recite Surah Al Ikhlas with reflection, you develop patience, gratitude, and reliance on Allah. You begin to see that delays, detours, and challenges are themselves signs of protection and preparation, guiding you toward what is truly best. Through these verses, the believer learns to read life differently. No longer is every event merely chance or circumstance. Every detail, every smile, every encounter, every challenge, and every moment of peace becomes a potential sign from Allah. Surah Al Ikhlas trains the heart to perceive these signs, to trust in Allah's timing, and to feel the comfort of His nearness. It teaches that the words of the Qur'an are Allah, that they speak not just to the mind, but directly to the soul, guiding, nurturing, and preparing it to receive the blessings Allah has destined. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. Trusting Allah completely and surrendering to His plan is one of the most profound lessons that a believer can internalize. And Surah Al Ikhlas serves as a powerful reminder of this truth. Life is full of uncertainty, and human beings are naturally inclined to seek control over outcomes, to plan meticulously, and to worry about what the future holds. Yet the recitation of this surah teaches the heart that ultimate control belongs to Allah. When you say Qul Huwa Allah, Allah Ahad with sincerity, you are affirming that the one who created the heavens and the earth is singular, unique, and all-powerful. You are declaring that your life is in the hands of the most capable, the most compassionate, and the most just, and that nothing occurs without His knowledge and decree. This awareness is transformative, because it shifts the burden from your shoulders onto the one who never fails, creating a sense of peace and trust that no worldly assurance can provide. Surrendering to Allah's plan does not mean passivity or inaction. Rather, it is a conscious decision to align your efforts, intentions, and heart with His will. When you recite Surah Al Ikhlas, you are reminded that your role is to strive and make effort, while leaving the results to Allah. Life is full of moments where you may feel anxious about outcomes, a job opportunity, a relationship, or the help of a loved one. In these moments, sincere recitation with reflection allowed you to release the weight of worry and cultivate reliance on Allah. The words Allah Samad serve as a powerful reminder that He is self-sufficient, that He does not need you, yet everything depends on Him. By internalizing this, your heart learns to trust that Allah's wisdom surpasses human understanding, and that every twist and turn in life is part of a perfectly orchestrated plan. Trusting Allah completely also requires patience and perspective. Often we interpret delays or obstacles as setbacks, but when viewed through the lens of Surah Al Ikhlas, these moments become opportunities for growth and preparation. Allah knows what we are ready for, what we can handle, and what will ultimately benefit us. By surrendering to His timing, we allow ourselves to move through life with a sense of calmness and clarity. Just as a gardener waits for the seed to grow at its proper pace, the believer learns to wait for the unfolding of the divine plans, confident that what is meant for them cannot be taken away, and what is delayed is never denied. Real life experiences demonstrate how surrender and trust can transform the believer's journey. Consider a person who has been praying for relief from hardship or guidance in making an important decision. By reciting Surah Al Ikhlas regularly, with focus and hum, they develop an inner certainty that Allah is present, that His plan is unfolding perfectly, and that every event in their life carries meaning. They begin to notice signs in their surroundings, moments of clarity, unexpected opportunities, or even challenges that teach resilience, as gentle reminders of Allah's guidance. Trusting Him allows the believer to act decisively without being paralyzed by fear, to hope without despair, and to remain steadfast in faith, even when circumstances seem uncertain. Surrender to Allah also brings a sense of peace that permeates all aspects of life. When you accept that He alone is in control, anxieties about the past and worries about the future diminish. The heart becomes anchored in the present, fully reliant on Allah's knowledge, wisdom, and mercy. Surah Al Ikhlas trains the believer to internalize this trust, to recognize that ultimate success, safety, and guidance come only from Allah, and to cultivate a relationship where reliance on Him becomes a source of strength rather than fear. Every recitation becomes a reaffirmation of this surrender, a spiritual act that aligns the heart with divine will and a practice that prepares the believer to receive the blessings Allah has decreed in ways that are beyond imagination. Through understanding and embodying the message of Surah Al Ikhlas, the believer learns that complete trust and surrender are not signs of weakness, but of the highest form of faith. By placing every hope, every worry, and every intention in the hands of Allah, the heart finds serenity, the mind finds clarity, and the soul becomes ready to embrace the abundance of mercy and blessings that He has prepared. Each recitation strengthens this trust, making the believer resilient, patient, and intimately connected to the One whose plan is perfect, whose timing is flawless, and whose wisdom surpasses all understanding.